This meeting is in session. Our first order of business is hold on. My apologies. The first order of business is the filing of vacancies on the board, and we're also going to have annual business procedures. We're unable to do that right now because we do not have quorum. So we will continue on until we get quorum. And state monthly reports. And we'll start with Honolulu Fire Department.
Good evening, Captain Josh Ching Pickett, Kāne Fire Station. We'll just go through the statistics first. Statistics for August 2024. Structure fires in the Kāne area, 0. Wildland brush fires, 1. Nuisance fires, 1. Cooking fires, 1. Activated fire alarms with no fires, 7. Medical emergencies, 142. Motor vehicle collisions with pedestrian, 1. Motor vehicle collisions without pedestrian, 6. Mountain rescues, 0. Ocean rescues, 1. Hazmat incidents, 1. This month's safety and fire tip is more of a overall general safety tip. It's generally move over for emergency vehicles. Drive with caution and obey all traffic laws, including the move over law, to help protect our first responders while performing their duties near or on a roadway. This is more than a public courtesy, it's the law. HRS statutes requires a driver of a vehicle that is approaching an emergency vehicle that is stopped for an emergency, investigation of a possible traffic violation, rendering assistance to a police officer or other official duties as indicated by the flashing emergency lights of the stopped emergency vehicle shall, 1. Slow down to a reasonable and prudent speed that is safe under the circumstances of an emergency road situation ahead. If necessary, the driver shall come to a complete stop before making a lane change under paragraph 2 and make a lane change into the adjacent lane if necessary, and if it is safe to do so, or if possible, to move 2 lanes over, which leaves 1 lane between the driver and the emergency vehicles. Emergency vehicle means police, fire, EMS, ocean safety, FSP, tow trucks, and even some state and county vehicles while personnel are working. Are there any questions for fire? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for Fire Department. I just got a question. If somebody's on fire, do they roll on the ground? And I understand they have these blankets that can smother the fire out. How effective is that?
We generally don't endorse any blankets of any kind. During our fire prevention month, which is October next month, we generally instruct the kids to stop, drop, and roll, cover their face. It's for all people, just to stop the fire from spreading by moving around, get on the ground, and you're basically extinguishing it by rolling on the ground in that sense, not really throwing a blanket over anybody.
Thank you.
No problem.
Are there any other questions? Vice Chair?
Yeah, thanks for the report. Looks good. I mean, looks like low numbers, so it seems
Yeah.
like it's good.
Relatively slow month for the community, but it ebbs and it flows.
Yeah, and so I guess the only high number there's medical. Is there kind of a trend there? Was it drug?
No trend. We have diverse population in Kaneohe. The medical numbers are on par with a lot of the other communities that are bigger in size. Makiki, downtown Honolulu. So they all get, some of them more than that 142 number.
All right, thanks for keeping us safe.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions for Honolulu Fire Department? Mahalo, Captain.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Next is Honolulu Police Department. Is there a representative from Honolulu Police Department? Okay, I'm hoping they're not too busy. Hawaii Department of Transportation is on for a report. That representative is not making a report today, but we have communicated back and forth. I'm willing to write down any additional questions that anyone has for the Department of Transportation to send back. Are there any questions for Department of Transportation?
Chair.
We'll go with Kim Tomey and then Donald Sakamoto.
You're muted.
Unable to hear you while you're muted.
Sorry. Were my questions already sent or do I need to raise them when you spoke to him before, Mo?
No, that you're talking about the H3 flooding and the overgrown brush.
Correct.
Those emails were sent and responded to. Did you not get a copy of the response?
I don't, if I did, I didn't see it.
I'll
So-
send it to you.
Okay. For the benefit of the other people in the meeting, can he repeat what the status is of the investigation into that portion of H3?
There is no Department of Transportation representative here.
Oh,
So
okay.
they'll,
Shoot.
so there, I'll be able to, take that information back.
All right, thank you.
Yep, Mr. Sakamoto.
Thank you, Chair. I sent also some information for you for response. Did you get it back by any chance?
Can you be more specific, please?
About the the turnaround by Kaiser Clinic over there on Kamehameha Highway had the flashing lights.
Yes.
Yeah. If I didn't get a response in the email, so if you can.
Well, I understand that you spoke with you spoke with somebody at the DOT that didn't answer your question?
You're talking about Shishiro?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he did that, but I thought maybe there was a written response back. No.
Not specifically for the flashing light at the crosswalk at what used to be Hawaii Pacific University. I have a 75-page PDF about trying to mitigate pedestrian and vehicle conflicts throughout Kaneohe. I was unaware of any of this. This is what necessitated the installation of that U-turn closure lane across from Kaiser and Foodland.
Mhm.
So if you've noticed, you have to go up to Duncan Drive before you can make your U-turn. And I just got it today, so I'm sifting through that information.
Well, I appreciate it, Chair. Thank you.
Any other? I believe we have quorum. So we'll finish with Marine Corps Base Hawaii, then we'll get into the annual business procedures.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board and community. Christy Kalohiva, Marine Corps Base Hawaii. I have just a couple of items to share before I turn over to our commanding officer for the director for facilities, Commander Tomala, who's online, who will be doing a presentation update for our water reclamation. Two things I just wanted to share. I have two flyers that are left on the table for anybody to pick up. One of them is information about the Po'olaupoco Resiliency Review. Next month, we'll have a full presentation, but this is a read ahead for you to take. There's some interactive QR codes for you to check out, and next month we'll go into further detail with the University of Hawaii presentations. Also, we've just implemented our new sound reporting, and I have QR codes and a link that will take you directly to the form where you can fill out all the information. The idea behind this is to have it quick and simple and collect as much information and make it easy for the community to share their noise concerns, whether it be air or any artillery. And that's all I have, and I'd like to turn it over to Commander Tomala, who is online. Thank you.
Thanks, Christy. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I just want to give you all a quick update on the progress that we've been doing with our water reclamation facility in terms of just updating that facility and also the future upgrades that we have. So a number of current projects that we currently have ongoing are recently completed. Electrical distribution and control upgrades. So this is in relation to like SCADA systems, replacing a backup generator, allowing our operators to essentially control a lot of the systems of the plant from an actual room instead of having to go out and do things manually. Repairing our secondary clarifier, that's currently ongoing as part of that system, replacing a lot of the old parts. And then a complete replacement of one of our primary digester. We have a primary and secondary, so that one is also currently ongoing. It should be finished up of May of next year. For future projects, we're very excited. We recently got appropriated funding from Congress to award a future MILCON to provide a complete secondary treatment process and train for our reclamation facility. And that is currently scheduled to be awarded hopefully in September of 2025, completed about three or so years later. There is an environmental assessment that is part of that project and will be going out for public comment right now, I think looking at around January 2025 timeframe. And then in addition to that, prior to that MILCON being awarded, we also have another disinfection project that's going to increase our disinfection capability and redundancy. That's expected to be awarded next year, and then probably will be finished up about a year and a half after that. And then in terms of also just trying to improve our ability to reduce our amount of potable water use, we're still working with DOH on getting reapproval to use R2 quality water over at the Clipper Golf Course. Previously had to turn it back off, but we're currently going through the process of developing a number of different phases to discuss with DOH about the potential of getting approval to start reusing R2 water, and a lot of that is related to some of the projects that I just kind of brought up there previously. So overall, a lot of really good things are happening right now with our WRF facility, and I'll just kind of stand by for any potential questions that the community may have.
Any questions for Marine Corps Base Hawaii? I see Mr. Sakamoto for one. And not seeing any others on, okay. Hoku. Okay, Mr. Sakamoto, you go, and then Hoku Gilbert.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Christy, and thank you for the other person giving the report. Christy, I talked to you just a little while ago about the dog food that was sold at the Marine Corps Exchange, as well as the commissary, was contaminated with dry dog food bags with larvae. I would appreciate if you can get some information how they disseminated to get the word out to not only the base people about the contamination of food, but for the retirees that go there and buy dog food for their dogs. So if you can get that next month, I appreciate it.
What exactly are you looking for?
There were some larvae in a container of,
Yeah, I got that. And the shelves were cleared of it. So
Yeah.
are you trying to determine if there was some sort of communication to the folks that bought the dog food?
yeah, the dog retirees.
Okay.
over there.
Very, thank you. Hoku.
Hi, thank you. This is just for Christy. I wanted to find out, I've been trying to get in touch with somebody at the base to find out some more information about a set of 3 very large, bright, stadium bright lights that shine out from the base towards the Mauka side, towards the mountains, directly into all of us on this side of the bay, into our bedrooms at night. The lights are quite far from the hangar row and from areas that obviously look like need to be lit up at night. I started calling Representative Tokuda's office about this back in April and called there repeatedly and didn't get much traction there. I did speak a couple weeks ago to Mr. Dane Christensen, and he was quite helpful, but my concern is with the shearwater fallout season upon us as of about right now through the about mid-December. These 3 lights in particular, which have been on since about 5 o'clock this afternoon when it was still bright out and light, and are on now and will probably stay on all night because they usually do. They will cause hazards for these protected species, and I just don't know, other than talking to Mr. Christensen about it and expressing my concerns, if there's any way, if we can find out if at least for this period of shearwater fallout, if those lights can not be on quite so frequently at night. Because as I said, I'm not quite sure, from my vantage point, they look like they come from behind the marina, but I know that's not necessarily where they are, but they're not really very close to any obvious hangar areas.
Hi, Hoku. This is Christy.
Hi, Christy.
I know Dane had mentioned that he spoke with you about the shearwater and the lights of that are a concern.
Yeah, he was terrific.
It's for the field. It is for the track and field. It has been brought up, and he did say that they are working on doing minimal, or at least having them shut off at night. What I was told from, and Dane is with environmental, so they work on, he's one of the main environmental, I call him our Ninja Turtle because he's really focused on our turtles and our shearwaters.
Yay for
in fact,
him.
I just got a, yes, he's wonderful. They really are. And I share with everybody, our environmental department is spot on when it comes to environmental issues. They are very, very, very diligent with doing everything that they can to work with our leadership to get the information to leadership with guidelines and ideas on how to address what's best for in all of our environmental, from the seals, the turtles, all of our native birds, even our endangered plants. They really do a really wonderful job, and they work really hard. And I have to give and I'm always on the side of the community. I straddle like this, it's like all of our community concerns as well as our, what is good for our projecting our power and protecting our installation. But our commander really cares much about our environment because I tell everybody, I say, well, this is where I live. I live in Kaneohe, Wahea, to be specific, and my children and my grandchildren will live here, and so it's up to us to protect that, and that is the focus of the Marine Corps base, because I tell them that it's important.
Can you just please ask the people
Yes.
at the recreation department to shut the lights off at 10 p.m. because there's nobody playing sports. As soon as the intramurals are over, that's all they need to do. They used to be on a timer, and the timer used to get rusty because it's out in the open. And so it sometimes does not go off. Sometimes it goes off in the middle of a game. They have to wait for 5-15 minutes.
That's
for
what I heard.
So just, if you could just tell them that they can be more diligent when the intramural sports is over, shut the lights off.
I will.
And that should take
yeah,
care of some of your problem, Hoku, as well. Thank you,
Yes,
Christy, for
and-
the explanation. Moving on. Any other questions for Marine Corps Base Hawaii?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to both Christy and Dane.
I had a question for the commander. Are you still on?
Yes, I am here.
Are you familiar at all with the results of the studies that the Windward Coalition does as it relates to the cleanliness of the water in the bay?
Not directly off the top of my head, but I can follow with my environmental team if they've been made privy to those studies.
It's in concert with what the Department of Health does.
Mhm.
And they've taken measurements on different parts of the bay, including the Fort Haase side. So I think it would be important to share that information with you as part of what you're doing with your water projects. And
Absolutely.
I'll try and I'll get your email from Christy and then get that information hooked up from the Windward Coalition. Mahalo. Thanks, Commander.
Thank you.
Okay, moving back to filling of vacancies on the board. We still have two. Sub-District 2, which is the Windward Mall area, and Sub-District 7, Puahala. Is there anyone that's interested in serving on any of those sub-districts? It's funny how when I ask that question, everybody averts their eyes as not to be a volunteer. Okay, we're still looking for some folks. If you know someone who might be a good add to the board, let them know and have them come to the next meeting. Next is our annual business procedures. We didn't get a chance to do this in July because we had we had a forum, we had a candidate forum, and then we had technical difficulties in August, and now we are here in September. So we have to go through these things. So the first order of business is election of officers to serve from September 19th to June 30th, 2025. And the officers to be elected are chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and any other officers determined to be needed to conduct the board's business. So at this time, do we have any nominations for chair?
I nominate Mo Radke for chair.
I second.
Now, there's a nomination and a second. Are there any others for chair? We need to make a vote on this? Are there any objections? Abstentions? Okay, by unanimous consent, I accept.
Congratulations, Chair.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair. Nominations for Vice Chair?
I nominate Adriel Lam as Vice Chair.
I second. Any objections? Or sorry, are there any others? Hearing no others, are there any objections or abstentions? Okay, by unanimous consent, congratulations, Vice Chair, to continue. Also for Secretary. Is there a nomination for Secretary for the board?
I nominate Laura Burbage.
Second.
It's been nominated and seconded twice. Are there any others? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, congratulations.
Congratulations, sir.
And finally, Treasurer.
I nominate Donald Sakamoto.
He's been nominated and seconded. I'll second it. Are there any objections or abstentions? Hearing none. Congratulations, Mr. Treasurer, by unanimous consent.
Thank you.
The next item is the meeting let me backstep a second. Are there any other officers that you feel the board needs to have to conduct ourselves reasonably? Okay, hearing none. Next is the determination of the meeting date, time, and location. We are meeting here at Ben Parker. The meeting's set at 6:30 p.m. Any changes to that? You're about to say something, Donald. Go ahead.
No, I love it. I love that time.
No, he loves that time. Okay. Everything stays there. Do we need to vote on that or we just move on? Okay, moving to determination of our board recess schedule. at this point, we recessed in July and ended up doing the candidate forum. We normally recess in December with our December potluck and community gathering. I believe that's still on the calendar. Do you want to change that?
I agree that December sounds good.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, say again, please. Oh, it's
I
agreed.
agree.
So last year, I don't know if you recall, there wasn't anyone here to open the room, Spencer.
Yeah.
So we ended up going to Cecil's house. All 12 of us. It was quite an event at the last minute. So December potluck, recess. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Our oral rules of testimony. In a nutshell, we basically allow people to make 3 minutes for their comments. Elected officials, 2 minutes. The reason for that is because they get time in the Q&A to continue to talk. So it ends up a lot more than 2, but 2 to make their quick pitch, 3 for community concerns. Is there any motion to change those? Can you?
When people bring concerns, does it have to be phrased as a question?
The question was, or the clarification is, when people bring up their concerns, do they need to be phrased as a question? They can be phrased as a comment or a statement if they're directed directly to me. But they're not to ask questions of people that are making presentations. And this way it keeps it from getting contentious in Robert's Rules of Order. You have a question, you ask it of me, and then I form the question back to the person. It might be an extra link in the chain, but that's just the way it keeps things civil. Did I answer your question? Okay. Any adoption to the testimony rules? We have a bunch of committees. Is there a motion to retain these committees, eliminate any committees, or add any committees? Hearing no additions, no deletions, these will stay as is. And congratulations, everyone. We move on to the next order of business, which is the board briefs that we have. And we have a couple of briefs tonight. We have Taeyeon Kim, who's going to talk about 45403 Haiku Road, and Alan Johnson, Executive Director of Hinamauka. So, Mr. Kim, you're first.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners, community members. My name's Taeyeon Kim. I'm with Environmental Communications, the planning consultant for AM Partners, architects in charge of the Waipo parcel compliance permits. I'll go through this quite briefly. I think you may all be familiar with this site. It's located at the end of Haiku Road, and presently this project that I'm here to present tonight consists of a conditional use permit and to formalize the uses and structures presently located in an approximately 8-acre site. The site is owned by Kamehameha Schools and is leased to Papahana Pualoa and Huiko Maoli Ola, both which are Aina-based endeavors that promote learning through agriculture and cultural activities. The project will formalize the activities which occur on agriculture zone lands. Some of the structures that were built over the years require after-the-fact building permits. Additionally, for the safety and convenience of those who work and learn on this site, 2 new comfort stations will be added. This site and its learning opportunities are used by both student age and adult learners. The uses occurring on the site have taken place since 2007 and are expected to remain at approximately the same level as it does now. Spencer? Both the Papahana and Huiku sites lie along the Ia Stream and are located near Haiku Road and Kuneke Street. The structures are relatively small, and the largest structures being greenhouses located on the Huiku operation area. The area is open and lush with heavily forested areas located between Papahana and Huiku areas. The area largely reflects the agricultural nature of the lot. Spencer? As mentioned, the purpose of this permit is to bring existing buildings into compliance with the Department of Planning and Permitting, documenting all structures on the property, process after the fact building permits for the structures, and to process a conditional use permit for the existing structures on site. Additionally, 2 new restrooms will be added to the site for safety and convenience. Now, this first slide shows the greenhouses for the nursery plants and accessory office building of the Huiku site. As you may know, this is a very typical, these structures are very typical of a working farm or nursery with unpaved roads and operation areas and very, very simple buildings. Spencer? Other buildings on the Huiku site include a tool shed, a caretaker's building, which is essentially a simple single-family dwelling unit, and a storage container that is also located on the area. Next one. On the Papahana Kualoa site, other buildings include a tool shed, warehouse, multipurpose building, and essentially those are the warehouse multipurpose building was a single-family dwelling converted for multipurpose and warehousing. Spencer, next one. The Papahana site is located close to He'ia Stream and includes a dual-purpose warehouse, multi-purpose building, right, and assorted storage buildings. As with the Huiku site, the site is unpaved and buildings are generally located to support Aina-based learning activities. The location of the new comfort stations are located on the Huiku site and on the Papahana site. As you see, there's a small differentiation. One is called a comfort station, one is a restroom. The difference largely being a changing area between the toilets. And last slide. This is a plan of the comfort station. As you can see, changing area was necessitated by the need that when you're out working in Loi on a farm situation, you're going to get dirty. You're going to probably want to change your clothes. Very simple structure. Next one. And a restroom, basically a shed building with male and female toilets. With these 2 additional buildings, the comfort and safety of all participants and staff at the Papahana and Huiku sites will have a better experience, and this will enhance this valuable community asset. And Chair, that concludes the slide presentation.
Are there any questions? Can you come to the microphone, please? And you'll have to say your name. And then I see Mr. Sakamoto after that. Vice Chair.
My name is Maydeen, and Lou, you need first name, last name?
Sorry,
First name, last name?
your first name?
Maydeen,
Maydeen.
yes.
Last name?
Lou,
Lou.
Just wanted to ask what the, putting up, the new restrooms and stuff, what kind of infrastructure do you have there for this?
Existing water and sewer capacities are available. The main infrastructure, water and sewer line, are located down on the street. And lines will be drawn from the street-based mains up to the location of the comfort station and restroom.
Mr. Sakamoto?
Yeah, she kind of asked my question, but my question is, have you explored using a well? Maybe there's water underground by the stream that you can use for irrigation for your greenhouse. Is that possibility, or have you explored that?
We haven't explored that. It is possible if there are well waters to be drawn. It's actually a fairly long and complicated process where we, I think there's stream waters available that basically serve the need. So I don't think additional waters are actually required in necessitating a well. Potable water is used for the comfort station and for the accessory buildings. And that's because they'll be cleaning produce and flowers, and it's basically for public consumption. But general irrigation uses water that's already available on site.
Vice Chair?
Yeah, thanks for presentation. It's always glad to see some improvements in the area. See a lot of school children access that the facilities to learn from it, and as well as a teaching point for the community that they have signs along the way. I guess always seeing, especially those new properties on the farther into the valley, it's good to see that being actively occupied instead of abandoned, and it invites a lot of other things that we don't want there. But I do want to mention that, a lot of, and you probably know this already, a lot of local residents use that road to exercise in the morning, afternoon. And if that's also still going to be available after improvements are made, that local residents can still enjoy the route to.
No operational changes are proposed.
Okay, thank you.
And no questions from the screen? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Next is Alan Johnson, Hinamauka.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Well, to the chair and the vice chair and neighborhood board, I'm Alan Johnson with Hinamauka. We're very pleased to be here to present what we're doing. And as you know, we've been in Kāne for many, many years and providing services to the community. And we're trying to expand our in-reach in the community to be a better service to each other, going to the next progression of how we can help improve things. And I have a short PowerPoint here. All right, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so backing up, that's this is where we are right now in Kāne, and I want to talk a little bit about ourselves. So we're Hinamauka. We're a nonprofit behavioral health care provider. We've been in Kāne since 1969, so over 55 years we've been there. So we provide behavioral health treatment for substance abuse and mental health services. And we also treat adults and kids, especially we're in the middle schools and the high schools, as well as have an outpatient. And we do a lot of prevention work too. And now we're doing much larger scale with prevention with families and communities in Hawaii. So just trying to explain a little bit about where we are and who we come from. We foster hope and healing. That's about us, healing for the individual, healing for the community. So substance abuse, behavioral health disorders, prevention and treatment are a big thing what we do. We've branched out into recovery support services in recent years. That's case management, help with job skills. And now we're moving into housing. Not independent housing like a clean and sober, but a managed housing for people who have completed treatment and are doing really well. So we've improved a lot. We're a multidisciplinary team. We have doctors, nurses, master therapists, counselors. We're very much the best practice facility in all of Hawaii, if you will. for what we do. So comprehensive treatment for what we do. We also do the mental health issues. We're dealing with depression, anxiety, which is just out of sight for kids. PTSD, we work with the vets. We got physicians, we got nurses on board. We do the case management, job training, and now we're talking about housing. So, diabetes is a big thing we have to end up dealing with when we're dealing with this population. We're very holistic, and we teach a lot of coping skills. But for some of the more needy ones who would start at residential, it just seems like they have these coping skills, but they need an avenue to go practice them. And turning them loose to housing where they independently live, it seems like that's not enough from our perspective. We want to make sure they're more successful. A little bit about our size and who we are. We help about 1,700 adults a year and about 800 kids, most of them at schools, with some in outpatient. We help with about 2,000 individuals with structured recovery programs, and includes more detailed, face-to-face prevention. And I've been here almost 29 years, and we've calculated that of this group right here, we've helped 80,000 people. So we've certainly made a difference, and not everyone is speaking up about having come through Hinamalco, but that's 80,000 people we've been able to help. And nowadays we do a lot more with prevention with large groups of parents and children. So we reach about 20,000 people a year in those programs. So here's residential, where it's crucial to support it. Most of the people go through outpatients, so you never see them because they still got their jobs and families. But those who go through residential care, they probably have multiple issues, especially traumas and substance abuse, and generally diabetes. So that needs, doctor care. You get referrals, hospitals, clinics, homeless shelters, and even justice-involved programs. So, as you know, change is coming here. Federal funding is big time, investing in housing, and that's already begun, and it's going to be big time. We call it the tsunami coming, is housing programs. So crisis beds, homeless housing already begun. There's so much federal funding for it. And it's both a Democrat, Republican. That's one of the things they both agree on, is this housing type stuff. And so also there's housing program coming out. Who needs an extra helping hand after treatment, after you've been very successful for that? And so that's us. That's what we're hoping to do here. We have a transitional living environment here. It's designed for women. So our place is for women only, not for men, just women. And they have completed treatment or completed similar type programs from that. Now, some of them will be coming from a double triple C, and some will come from our residential. But for those who come from double triple C, they have, you may not know this, but we have 50 treatment beds in double triple C. It's 12 months to 18 months long. So these women are very successful at completing treatment. They have great coping skills and receive lots of counseling. They're so successful that right now, most of them have jobs already. They're released during the prison. They go out, they do their jobs, and they come back and they stay overnight. So they're very trusted, have demonstrated how they have learned what they can and how they're now doing so well that they're released during the day. Now that they're being released, we want to do a little bit more. And so we're starting this pilot project to say, let's help you reconnect with families. Let's help you heal. Let's get your kids back. Let's find a livable wage job that, you're starting at a minimum wage, but how can we get you into it? Our thoughts are getting into the medical system. As you know, there's 30% shortage in that field. It's just huge. When you go see your eye doctor or your medical doctor, there's just not enough assistance there. We think this is going to be a great place for them to go. And we want to get them secure housing, get them in their checking account going, and make them go forward. They don't own cars, but they will later in life, and as they go on. But really connecting with the kids is such a big thing. So case management, job training, and we have support. So it's not independent living. We have 24/7 staff there. They manage the facility at all times. And we're really good at that. And so we help people achieve stability. And also, we're in Kaneohe, so we're just a short distance away, our main facility. So if there's management, the manager can be right there. If there's staff doesn't show up, we can have staff right there. I mean, this is just ideal for us. And here's the building. It's sitting there. We didn't build it. It's sitting there. And it's ideal for us, for what we do. And it's in Kaneohe, and this is a great opportunity for us to do a therapeutic living program. This is women who are low risk, justice involved, or community-based women who've had residential treatment. And so we saw that there, we jumped on that as we've been moving into our program. So a summary 24/7 support for adult female, low risk, justice involved. We're really going to have strong support, wraparound services, connecting with doctors and specialists and urgent care providers. We're really going to make sure that they're so successful in what they've been doing and so motivated that we can just give them this a little extra, they can do it. So 24-hour supervision for support, job training, building skills, especially with the family, often need help with that, and a close proximity. So those are, just make this ideal for us. I can't stress that enough. So we'll use best practices, assessments, our staff are highly trained. We got house rules and codes of conduct. You know, I've been here for almost 29 years. We do great with our neighbors. We know how to do that. We know how to be a great neighbor. We don't have staff, we don't have clients walking around. We don't have them driving their cars around. We don't have any of that. We've been an excellent neighbor for for 3 decades. So we'll be employing that in here, 24/7 staffing. And we also have some information for you. Clinical Director Bill Mauser. You can call him at 808-447-5282. That's Bill Mauser at 808-447-5282. Now, we're volunteering with the Department of Health that they would come and monitor us and review our policy and procedures and making sure we're following best practices. And they will be posting a number as well that you can call the Department of Health and then work with them. So we're trying to do everything we can to show that we're a good neighbor. We plan on starting in the fall of 2024, just a handful of people. And most will stay 3 months, could be as much as 6 months, but probably more around the 3-month area. They'll learn those skills to move on and get their housing because they're ready to do that. And we'll get them into much better paying jobs, we will, and we're hoping to urge them into the healthcare industry. And that's our therapeutic living program. And just one last thing, this building right here, so close to us, so ideal for us. We just was really amazed at this opportunity here. So with that, that's it. And I would be glad to
Thank you
answer
very
questions.
much for your presentation. Before I open it up to questions for everyone else, I have some. And I hope you can answer these. You had mentioned in your slide presentation about the opportunity to have federal funding, which expands the opportunity for you to expand your services. So when that happens and you are able to obtain funding to expand, how do you balance your planned operations with the way a community already exists?
Well, I'm not sure what you're saying. Exactly what do you mean, balance?
What I'm
You know,
Well, then,
receive
let me make
funding
it
for our
clear.
staff.
Let me make it clear so you don't answer the question that I'm not asking. Once again, you expand your operations similarly to the picture that you showed on your slide about the house in Kaneohe. Any consideration to the way the community already exists when you bring something like this into the community? And I'm talking about not the people in the house, I'm talking about the house and the number of people and the impact on the infrastructure.
Well, first off, we're just starting with a handful of people and not looking to have a lot of people there because we need staffing and funding to make that done. So, you know, we don't have all that to fill up that capacity there. The second thing is, look, our communities are under stress. Anxiety is out of sight. Substance abuse is climbing out of sight. We can't just ignore that. We're here to help. We're going to help these women get back with their kids, get the good jobs, be really good in the community. We need the community's help too. We can't just hide from the problem. Let's face the problem. Let's make our community better. Let's start with these women here could be great with their kids. There'll be new role models for their kids, so their kids will be moving in a new direction. That'll expand out into the community, and that's the way of rising the community up by facing the problems that we face right now and doing that. And we're going to need some support. And that building is right there. So I think what we're doing is really great for the community.
Okay, that's wonderful. And you're taking care of residents that have problems. Do you anticipate that the people that live in that community also have problems now related to the increase?
Yeah, right now the Department of Health just posted that 35% of all the kids have had a behavioral health incident reportable. They say 50% of the kids here, in our neighborhoods here have a behavioral health problem right now, especially with anxiety. These problems are often, with unattended, these problems are often solved with substance abuse. I mean, there's a growing concern. 50% of people have a chronic illness. 1 in 5 are domestic violence families right now. And, this is growing. We see that across the state growing. We're going to make a difference here. And there are neighbors here who probably need our services too, who may see, hey, there's hope here, there's healing here, and they may engage with this in our other facility for treatment. But these folks have completed treatment. They're ready to go. They've demonstrated good coping skills. They're ready to be a major contributing force in their community, and they're going to be positive out there. And this is not the ones who are, oh, please help me. We do that over there on the other side of Kāne. This is the ones
I don't
who
think
worry.
anyone disputes the service that you're providing.
Right.
Are you aware that there are concerns from the community?
Yes, I believe that we've heard a few phone calls. I would say that we are phasing in very small, going very slow, going to take lots of time for the community to get used to us. We're going to demonstrate just how good neighbors we are. And we're going to make sure that it's very well managed and that there's no big problems. We're not looking to expand right away. We're not looking to make this big. We're just a few handful of women. I believe you give us a chance to prove how we could be good neighbors. That would make a big difference for the community. And that's not uncommon all across as programs start. Neighbors do get concerned, but most of them demonstrate that they're not that much to be concerned about once you give them a chance to show that.
Yeah, have you seen the property?
Yeah. We
Have you been
purchased
to the property?
I have.
Are you aware that there are no sidewalks? And are
Yes.
you aware that there may not be enough parking for the number of folks that may get and transiting back and forth, and what impact that might have on the community?
They have no car.
All I'm asking you, sir, is that there are some community concerns, and I'm going to open up the floor to them in just a second, as long as they don't repeat the same thing that I'm
Well,
saying.
let me answer that first.
And
They don't have
because
cars. There are going to be
I'm
no
sorry?
cars. There's no traffic, no car.
how many people you're planning to open it with? You said 4 or 5.
Yeah. So that's it.
Ample.
And they
And
don't
then-
have cars. They
in
use the
and then in a
buses to travel.
year, because everything is going well, what is the potential number of folks that can be in that facility?
I think we'll go through a conditional use permit later down the road, and we'll be coming in to communicate that, or what our capacity issues are and what that might mean to us. But we're a long ways from any kind of capacity issues of achieving that. I mean, we need funding for staffing even.
Sure. Where's the staff going to park?
You have one staff that, for each shift, 24 hours, that's all you need for managing those few women. So you have one car parked there. And then during the business hours, you have a case manager coming there and then leaving. So that's at the most 2 cars. So you just have one car at a time there. That's it.
Got it. So you're going to have to make another presentation for what kind of permit do you need?
We'll need a conditional use permit later in order for us to expand. And so we'll be coming in for that with lots of information.
And community input as well?
Yeah, so we'll reach out. We've sent some letters to the immediate neighbors, but we'll be sending out letters to all those within the certain radius that the state sells us to, and that are all our neighbors back there, and be able to explain exactly who we are, what we do, and then we'll have communications with that so that people can understand.
Yes, great. Well, were there any letters sent out to the community for this meeting of the neighborhood board?
They were sent out to our immediate neighbors, not for the board, but we sent letters to say this is what we're doing there. And we understand they may be here.
You have sent those letters.
Yeah, to the immediate neighbors.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for answering my questions. Are there any other questions?
No.
And I hear somebody hollering at me.
I am.
Oh, okay.
Ready?
So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 folks, and you're probably going to talk about similar things that what we were just talking about. But please feel free to make your comments. I'm going to have to hold you to the 3-minute limit, so try and be as brief as possible. We'll start with what's your name, sir? Gary
Burbage, right.
Gary Birch.
Burbage,
Burbage. Oh, okay.
10 seconds.
Okay, go ahead, Gary.
It was a bait and switch. You told us everything about the property. It's near, it's close, but I didn't recognize by the picture where the property is. Is there a secret or where's the property at?
On the Cobb Adams Road.
Cobb Adams Road. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Then we'll go to the Cobb Adams. That's what it's listed as your name. So go ahead and say who you are and do your worst.
Yes, my name is Sean. I am a 4th generation Cobb Adams.
Last name?
Kapu.
Sean Kapu?
Yes. There's a lot of my neighbors that's probably sitting in this building right here, right now. We were interested in what community did you go out and reach? Who actually got the letters? Because I never got a letter. And also, do you realize the property you're on, those 4 houses were built for care homes. So this isn't new to us. We have been dealing with this issue since 2013. We have brought it up to every single elected official. We have tried to stop this. One of the land use ordinance is 21-5.290. Are you aware of this ordinance, sir?
So you're actually talking to me when you ask that question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mo.
So go ahead and keep on with what you're saying, and then when we get to the end of it, we'll ask for a response.
Okay.
So continue, please.
Because there's already a care home on that property with a group living, we cannot understand how Hinamalka will get a group living facility permit. There's already other unlicensed and in violation of LUO codes on the road. They come down and turn around in my driveway. They come walking down my driveway. And we went out and we collected, and I would say it's less than a 24-hour period, 212 signatures, and we're all against your house, period. Within that 1,000 feet radius, there's 99 bedrooms, 99 bathrooms. There's a whole ton of people around you already, care homes. And by all these homes popping up here and there, you're driving everybody's property tax up. The lady right behind you, she's in that cafeteria right now. She's already been violated a number of times. There's a lot of unwanted traffic, a lot of unwanted foot traffic. So we don't know who you talk to or anything,
Okay.
any kind of neighborhood.
Thank you very much. Yep, thank you very much. Let's get to the folks that are here in the cafeteria. Come to the microphone and say your name, please.
My name is Susan Ritchie, and I've been living in Kaneohe for over a decade. I am moved by this project that you are pushing forward. I don't think that everything has been considered. I am very close to the woman that lives next door to your facility, proposed facility. And having 12 people move in all at once, plus staff, and you've also said that you're going to have a security person there. So that looks like 24 people to me. If you have 2 people in each room, that comes out to be a total of 37. That's a whole big group moving into a small community with a very small road. There are no sidewalks, so that's how small the road is. If you're driving and you veer off to the side, you're in somebody's yard. You say there's federal funding that may become available for you. So that tells me expansion. Expansion means more people concentrated in a very small lot. That's a 1 acre lot. It's not large. The lady that lives next door is less than 25 feet away from that building. They can look directly into her house. Yeah, she can get curtains for all of her rooms, but her family's been there for over 70 years. And you're asking now, just be Christian about it, let these people get to a better place in life. Well, you're not thinking of the place you're putting the existing residents in. There's a lot that I want to say about this, but basically, you haven't had the outreach that you should have had. You should have had people walking that road regularly to talk to the community. This road has families that have multiple generations. Sean just said he can count back the generations that his family's been there. The road's named after his family. So these are the people you should have looked for and talked to. And now you're just saying, well, you know what? We have a planned move-in date of this fall. We're in the fall. This is a matter of weeks. And now you're saying it's all going to be fine. We just need to give everybody a chance. We understand that. We're Christians, a lot of us. We don't want people to fall into the holes of society, and they do regularly. But you need to look a lot harder at what you're doing to this community. And you need to find other options. If you have alternatives, you're not backed into a corner that we're going to do this no matter what. No.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Aldine, do you have anything else to add? Can you add it from the microphone so it can be captured into the minutes?
Wanted to ask if they have their certificate of occupancy and are they in compliance of DPP ordinances and requirements?
That's a good question. Do you have a certificate of occupancy yet? Or is that part of your conditional use permit?
That would be part of a conditional use permit, and we're talking with them.
So nobody can move in until that happens. Is that correct?
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, it's not correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, oh yeah, thank you for that. No, it's not correct, or nobody can move in until you get your permit. That would be, yes.
No one can move in for certain levels of occupancy, can move in until that's permitted if you're beyond the allowable amount.
What is that? What is the allowable amount?
For those who are protected by ADA, it's 8 people.
How many? I'm sorry?
8.
8.
For those who are
Okay,
protected
so
by the American Disabilities Act and fair housing rules for people who have a disability, which substance abuse is a disability. So that's allowable for 8 people, but you can't go beyond that unless you get a permit. And the building would not handle 37 people, and there'd be no traffic. And we have one staff there each shift. That's it. They're the manager and security. Cameras everywhere.
thank you, Kim. Do you have a question?
Yes, thanks, Mo. I have a couple of questions. I think Mo tried to get at this earlier. What is your ultimate goal in terms of people that you will be housing there if you get your CPU? How big could it get?
Well, we're a long way from reaching any type of capacity, but I suppose we would have to go through them to see what the capacity is. They have to go measure the rooms, they have to determine the plans, and then they determine what capacity it is. It certainly wouldn't be 37, it'd be less than that, but at the moment, we're looking at a handful of women. And that's all we have for right now.
So you don't hope to exceed 37 is what you're saying.
That building would not, I know this much, that building could not be 37. You're
okay.
Probably, you're looking at way less than that. That building would not handle 37.
Okay, my next question is, one of your slides, you talked about justice involved individuals. Are these the people that are going to be in that 12-bedroom home?
I did mention that some of these women would be coming out of treatment that are in double triple C. That's the women's prison. They would have completed a year to year and a half of treatment, and they're now already released in the community to do jobs. And they
Okay,
come
well,
back
I
to the
didn't know what
facility.
you meant by WCCC. So
Yeah.
do any of are any of these justice involved crimes violent crimes?
Not that I know, but they're very low risk. They're assessed low risk. These are the best of what's that double triple C. They are moving into rehabilitation ideas. They changed their name, as you know, and it says rehabilitation in their name, and they are moving along those lines. They want this to be a success. So they will be referring people who are the best of the best that have been through a lot of treatment and are doing great. And that they have jobs in the community already, and they're already out in the community during the day.
Okay, so that leads to an earlier question by Mo. If they have jobs in the community, aren't they driving? Are they commuting by car or
No,
only
by
bus?
They don't have car, the double triple C, they commute by bus. Same with us, they'll be commuting by bus.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mo, can I
so
just ask
Ms.
one question, Mo? At the current site, how many HPD incidences did HPD have to respond to at the current site? The one up by the hospital.
What's the point of your question?
Yeah,
Well, because the point is, how many incidences did HPD, respond to at your site? What's going to be the response of HPD to this new Cobb Adams site, if anything does occur?
Well, you're looking at a treatment center up there with complex patients and people coming in with stress and problems. Most of those police are there because they have a health issue, and we get the ambulance there because they come in, they're really sick. This is not these people. They're not like that. They're not going to be any HPD instances. We don't foresee any, none at all. We foresee none. These women have been so successful. They have such great coping skills. They're ready to go into the community. They really are eager to connect with their kids. There won't be any HPD there. We don't foresee any incidents whatsoever.
Okay, well, the only reason why I'm asking
Okay,
is
so
because,
I'm gonna stop you there. That's good.
okay, are you gonna read the testimony, Mo?
I'm sorry?
Are you gonna read the testimony that was submitted?
Read.
There was a testimony that was submitted.
I could.
I think this would be I don't know when you want to read it or if it's addressable or what. I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
Sure, it's addressable. I don't know if I want to take everybody's time to read something that everybody has just pretty much effectively just said.
Okay.
And when we get down to it, this is not a governing body. The neighborhood board is not going to say yes or no, this facility can operate. But when you go for a conditional use permit and there's public testimony there, I'm looking at your testimony. I shared it with the board members. They've seen it. So they get the idea that there are community members definitely not happy with this. And I wanted to say to Mr. Anderson, if you are still here, I wanted to say that you probably now recognize that there is some immediate concerns of the immediate residents in that neighborhood. So something that you can do to help maybe alleviate their concerns, because it sounds like you're going to operate a legal entity and there are many illegal entities already operating there.
Yes. Well, see, the original owners, that's what happened. The Novo was issued to them because they were circumventing this thing by putting in 2 people, 3 people. There's ways to get around that law, and that sounds like what they're going to do. So it takes us back to 2013 where there's nothing we can do about it.
You're going to see that
those addresses that
you've there's not going to be
those addresses that you've mentioned are in the testimony.
Yes. The notice of violation and DPP has already flagged the entire property as group living facilities.
Spencer will ensure that all of that documentation is part of the minutes to be
Hinamaco
approved?
will not be violating any laws or policies that
You
are.
probably will not be violating any laws, but you can obviously see that there's community concerns, Mr. Anderson. And I think if Hinamauka addresses those, you may not come to complete agreement on either side, but if there happens to be a little bit of compromise or at least some understanding of what's happening in the community and not just what it is that you understand your business to do, I think that might bridge a little bit of the gap.
And that's why we're going to start with just a very few handful of women, and we're going to stay there for a long time so you guys can see just how good we are as neighbors.
Okay, that's wonderful, but a long time could mean 3 months, 6 months. It's very difficult to say what a long
Thank you.
time is. So you understand what the concerns are from the community, Mr. Anderson?
Johnson, but yes.
Is it Johnson?
Yes.
Alan Johnson.
Yes, that's correct.
Sorry.
No, I
apologize.
appreciate this opportunity to hear from everybody. I understand there are concerns, and those concerns are also not yet been verified as what we will do and how we'll accomplish and how we'll work together with each other.
Well, that's good. And I hope
It
that
hasn't
if
been
you
that
think,
opportunity yet.
if you
but I
think that all the
understand-
concerns have
Yep.
been heard, I would hope that you at least get back to the community and hear them directly from the community and not through this venue here, because I think having the chance to connect with the community, hear what they're having to say, might
That's-
change your mind in the way you operate the business.
Well, this is what our intention was. We sent it out to just immediate neighbors, and then we'll be sending letters out to much broader of the neighbors, and we'll be looking forward to have more communication, and we can hear to a larger group of people, especially once they understand what we're doing and what we're all about. And
Well,
so there'll
I
be more
would-
communication plans coming.
I would invite you to the 210 signature issue that was brought forward around the community, not just the Cobb Adams area, but it looks like it's even people in my neighborhood. And it's not specifically your facility, but it's specifically monster houses and houses that kind of change the face of the community. So if you can be understanding and respectful of that, I think 210 signatures will definitely get the attention of elected officials.
Well, we're thinking that they don't understand this yet, and as they get a chance to know us better, and they'll have to make much better decisions on whether they want to oppose or not when they understand it better. So we understand we're going through more communication issues, and we'll be moving forward along that way. We're not pushing for anything to be really expanded right now. We're going to take our time, wait for the community to see what we can do.
Okay, thank you. Tiari Kaole Lelo Pono. Did you have something additional to add? I'm sorry, I saw your hand up a couple of times. And if you can unmute yourself. I can see you. And if you can just unmute that microphone button, then you'll be able to speak. Say something. No, nothing yet. Can you unmute her?
Well, I would just add while we're waiting that I hear the concerns today. I think all those signatures don't yet know who we are, what we intend to do yet. We'll be listening more before we do anything more. We're not going to be expanding until we listen more, hear the concerns, try to address them, and try to show some assurances and then demonstrate that what we can do and how we'll be an asset for the community. So I hear that. We'll be listening more. So we'll proceed forward with that.
Thank you.
Mo, I have just one quick comment. If Tiari doesn't come on.
Tiari, any luck?
Oh, she asked how many buildings are available for us in the Kāne area? This one. How many buildings could we move into that we could afford, that is of this size, that is smaller but not big, that we can work with? This is it. This is the one. We don't have any other buildings that we could move to do that in Kāne. This is it.
Thank you. Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
And one last comment before we move on.
So I have a halfway house right next door to me and they have been some of the best neighbors because it is very well managed. So I have to say they're doing a good work. I totally understand what they're trying to do, but the neighborhood has to be on board. So that has to go out, that good communication and to get people to compromise in some way. But I know it's something that can be done, and it's men that are living next door to us. We have any complaint at all, the people there are on it. Or even if we speak up and say, hey, turn something down or whatever, it's always, "Oh, sorry, auntie." They want to get back into the community and want to get back into society. So that's my comment.
Thank you for that. And thank you.
Sorry, Chair.
One last
Hello,
comment
Chair
is,
Radke.
what she described was an independent home where they self-manage and they're doing a great job. The distinguishing difference is we'll be professionally managing everything. It's not an independently run place. We're in charge of everything. So we'll make
I
sure
fixed
that.
my mic, if anybody can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you fine. Can you go ahead and
Thank
ask
you
your
so much.
question again?
I'm so sorry, Chair Radke. Yeah. So my question is, and I as well, and for my whole life, I lived next door to a halfway house. I also, aloha, my name is Tiare. I work in the community with behavioral populations and put at risk populations, mostly youth. And I'm also a certified resource caregiver. So I take in foster care, mostly teens. My question is because I'm pretty familiar with what's available on the island. Can you tell us what is available on the island for what you're describing as a low risk population, in terms of not necessarily like, I guess this is kind of like a halfway house, but what you're describing is sort of an elevated option where they would also get in-house servicing. Is that correct? And
Yes, yeah.
can you tell us how many other options are there on the island? I live in Waikalua, and so there's Habilitat. And so, yeah, that was my question.
Well, it depends on what we can afford and what we can do. And we've been looking for 6 months. This was the only one we could find.
No, I'm not asking about Hinamauka. What I'm asking about services available to the low risk population that the demographic you're trying to target. Where else can they go? And I'm not talking about Kaneohe. I'm just talking about there's
Yeah, I see what you
Hinamauka,
mean.
there's Habilitat, there's Merrimed, there's where else can they go?
Those are treatment centers. Those are not, so this is not treatment. This is after treatment, and this is the first one. And there'll be more coming.
So I think maybe, I mean, and really this is about that Pilina piece that everybody is talking about, right? Building Pilina with your community is really important. And I think if you go back and you do some work with that, and then the women that you're proposing, and then create maybe some option for these people that are living there, because Cobb Adams is a big Hawaiian name. That is a historic Kaneohe family. You need to make sure you understand what you're talking about in totality and how that's going to affect Kaneohe. And that's how come I'm asking you, where else can they go? Because I know the answer. So if you don't know the answer, then probably we should find out, yeah. And then help each other to understand, right?
Well,
Thank you, Tiare.
I do know because I'm the chair of the Substance Abuse Coalition of all the treatment and prevention agencies in the state. So I chair that. I know that there's treatment options out there, and I know there's clean and sober houses, most of them illegal, but many of them well run. But for a transitional living program like this, this is the first of many to come. That's going to be spreading throughout the community. And there are some on the Big Island like this, and there are some who have started therapeutic living, but those are people starting treatment, not for after treatment. So there's very little of that.
Well, Mr. Johnson, you've heard the mana'o of the community and some of the questions that are being asked. And if you can move forward in a way that's pono, I think there can be some compromise and some understanding. So I appreciate your time today. I appreciate all the comments from the folks that are here. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of interaction you can generate with your prospective neighbors. Mahalo. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it too. Very much so. I appreciate all your comments. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you came to speak up. Thank you.
All right, moving along to community concerns. Kim, did you get my note about the coconut rhinoceros beetle? Okay. Uh, we wanted to have a little bit of a discussion about where we were with the coconut rhinoceros beetle.
So-
It's
Yeah, sorry. Keith Weiser is going to come next month. He couldn't do it.
okay.
We couldn't get it on the together for this month.
That's fine. And yeah, be interested to hear what kind of mitigation there is in place. I'm not sure there's much of a plan at this point, except keeping it from spreading as much as we possibly can. Are there any other community concerns? Mr. Sakamoto?
Yeah.
Stood up so fast.
Thank you, Chair. Last week I attended the Kahalu Neighbor Board, and there was a discussion about, IS water wells are getting contaminated from the radio, and there's a possibility that water supply will tap our wells on our windward side. So I'm very concerned about our water and how much water is going to be used if that does happen. So that's my concern. I hope we can find new wells on the other side and other solutions before they do that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I have to, we went kind of long on that last discussion and my computer timed out. There was a couple of community concerns. One had to do with a resident who lives along a drainage canal, and his neighbor across the way doesn't clean anything, and he keeps his side trimmed and nice and so the water can flow. The other side is not. Is there a remedy for that? I don't know. Or does something have to happen in order for him to sue the property owner? Okay. Do a little research on that one then. That was just
Question, Chair.
question about that.
Yeah, is it right here in Kaneohe someplace? Do you know?
Yes, it is in Kaneohe. The resident sent an email to me asking that question. And we went back and forth a couple of times. And you look at it as if somebody has a property right next to yours and it's kind of a hoarder property with a lot of stuff there. You really can't do anything unless it becomes a safety issue. But I'm not the authority. I think I need to get either Scott Matayoshi, who's been doing a lot of canal work.
Neighbors have helped other neighbors who have that kind of an issue. And I know it's not easy, but the neighbors have pitched in and it seems like it does help somewhat. So
You think we can help as a board?
as just private citizens,
Okay. I've got a chainsaw. I'll go help.
Well, I guess it's always a question of who's responsible for the streams, and it goes back and forth in city, state, and Department of Health, depending on the issue, private property. But I mean, I think it's an opportunity for the board as volunteers,
For sure.
individuals, to maybe do something about that and make, one of the things I like to say is make the streams usable again, just not something that's off limits, but usable for the community in some sense, right? So it's
Well, I'm going to feel bad if the residents across the stream are 80 years old and can't do it.
right.
Yes. So maybe it's a good idea to find out who they are.
I guess maybe the question is back to the neighborhood board commission. Last year, they offered this a certain fund for each board to do outreach. I don't know if that's still available, that we can make a proposal to purchase equipment, items to do projects for the community.
Sure. The treasurer is sitting right next to you.
That's
And I think that was all of the community concerns. Are there any other community concerns? Those are the only ones that I had. One there. Please come.
actually watch as the county crews come on a regular basis, especially before bad weather is expected. And they clean the stream near Anoy Street, Anoy Road. It comes down from the reservoir and they clean big swaths of it. They bring in equipment and if we could tap into something like that, if this is a city stream.
For sure. That's exactly the,
They bring in big machines that chop up the trees and cut down the holly cola, and the water seems to flow nice after they're done doing their work. So that's something we might have.
having been on this board for 14 years, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that exact same thing. Thank you so much.
Chair,
Yes.
concerned that stream that she just talked about. I did talk to Kelly at Department of Facility Maintenance in Winterside, and he said he did clean that bridge, you know, where she's talking about. But they went more than beyond their call is because the rest is all privately owned. But that's great that they cleaned it because that was a big hazard for the
Yep.
trees.
Good. Thank you for that. Any other community concerns? All right, hearing none. Moving on to elected officials reports, and thanks for sticking with us. First up is Representative Jill Takuta's office. Representative for Governor Green's office. Mayor Rick Langiardi's representative. Aloha and welcome.
Aloha, good evening. Andy Kawano, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services, City and County of Honolulu. We don't have a lot of new follow-up items from the last meeting that was shortchanged because of equipment connection issues. But there was a community concern about Kaneohe District Park and power washing, and the courts were slippery. So I let Laura Thielen know, and I went out there as well, and it seemed okay. I went out there about 2.5 weeks ago, checked all of the courts at that park, and it looked okay. So I'm wondering if it was just wet, moist when it was slippery. So keep us informed if you notice any other issues there, and we'll follow up. With regard to this month of September, September 30 is a key date for the real property tax credit. So I wanted to mention that for those homeowners on title at the home that have a combined income of less than $80,000, you would be able to apply for the real property tax credit. That would, if you qualify, credit would go into effect for next fiscal year, starting July 1st, 2025. The credit caps your real property tax at 3% of your combined income of the title holders. So if the title holders have combined income of $50,000, at 3% of that, you would pay $1,500 of real property tax. If your home is valued at $1 million, your real property tax would be, in theory, 0.0035 of that, or $3,500. You would only pay $1,500 if your income is at $50,000. So it's a good program for people that have lower income in the household. So just want to remind you to file. And if you don't have the application, you can go to www.honolulu.gov/treasury to get the form to file for that real property tax credit. And I'll just leave it at that. Keep it brief and take questions after the other.
Yeah, thanks for the information on the exemptions. And just to add on to that just a little bit is that if you got the exemption last year, it doesn't carry over. You have to apply again.
That's correct. You have to apply again, but the Treasury Office will mail
A reminder?
an application to those that filed in the prior year that qualified.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Any questions for the mayor's office? I see Kim Tomey's hand. And
Yes.
Mr. Sakamoto's finger.
Thank you, Mo. Is that a better deal than the property owners over 65? Or is that in addition to?
It would be in addition to if the 3% of the combined income of the title holders is less than the exemption for property holders over 65. It really depends on how much your property is worth. So you should definitely take a look at it if you have lower income.
Thank you.
Mr. Sakamoto.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Andy, for a wonderful report. My concern was I brought up about the border water supply. Ernie Lau was, no, not Ernie Lau. Yeah, the border water supply was on the TV on KHON2. Ernie Lau was talking about a settlement with the federal government lawsuit, and it was $2 billion. That $2 billion is awarded to Oahu or Honolulu. Does it go to the city or it goes to the water supply for distribution?
I believe it'll go to BWS, but I will confirm at the next meeting.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Oh, one more question.
Andy, you mentioned there was a concern at the district park about car washing.
Power washing the surface of the
Okay.
court, and a community member said the courts got slippery.
Oh, thank you.
I think going back to the prior question, the $2 billion may also cover claims as well, by claims of the families that were filed. So I'll double check what the breakdown it looks like.
Thank the mayor very much for taking a stance on recognizing veterans and service members for his efforts to restore the Waikiki War Memorial Natatorium. I'm seeing a lot of articles and some news pieces on that. I think it could only be a good thing to help all of those swimmers and those volleyball players and those veterans who serve. So mahalo.
Thank you. I'll let him know. Thanks.
All right. Council Vice Chair Esther Kia-Aina. I see her team here.
Hello, Chair. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I wanted to make this brief. So the first thing I wanted to mention was there are pavement repairs taking place on Kaneohe Bay Drive between the H3 and Mokapa Boulevard, and the work takes place on weekdays from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And the work began on August 26th and is anticipated to be completed on October 18th, 2024. I'll include more info on that in the chat. And the last thing I wanted to mention was Bill 44, which Councilmember Kia-Aina introduced with Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. It's relating to lowering the maximum speed on roadways around public parks and public school grounds from 25 to 20 miles per hour. And that bill passed first reading at the council on August 7th. Councilmember introduced a CD1 to further regulate e-bikes or electronic bikes in public parks by capping the speed limit at our parks to 10 miles per hour. And the bill will be next heard at the Transportation Committee meeting in September. That's my report, and I'll take any questions if there are any.
Any questions for the Vice Chair, for Jaren? Mr. Sakamoto.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Jaren. I talked to you earlier, I think it was this morning. Can you elaborate? I've been working with you folks on the street by Kaneki Street. It's all overgrown. Department of Facility Maintenance was going to clean it. And the mayor said on the Ricamata show that somebody asked that question. He said November 24th, 2024. We're still in the hurricane season, you know, all that kind of stuff. So very crucial that we change. And then I brought this up before about Aloha Street, yeah, in Winter Mall by Plaza. Very busy intersection. People are walking across from each way. And he said they might put a crosswalk, and Kauhipa Street is a danger. But I support Bill 44. I testified for the, I think, first reading. And I hope it goes through at transportation. But can you elaborate on the two issues that I brought up?
Yeah, I'll have to follow up with DFM with regard to the date of the stream that you're mentioning, and hopefully I can get word back tomorrow, and I'll give you a call and give you an update with regard to that. And yes, there is a planned crosswalk for Alaloa Street between the plaza and Windward Mall area.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Vice Chair? Mahalo. Moving on to our senators and representatives. Senator Keoho Kalole. Senator Awa. Oh, love it when you come in person.
Aloha, Chair and members. We didn't get to hear about the CRB. I was hoping to hear an update for Kaneohe, the coconut rhinoceros beetle. Out in Haleiwa on the other side of our district, we went after, or we're going after CRB. Well, the state doesn't have any, plan. We took it on ourselves with our office in the community to go out in the hardest hit area in our district, which is Mokuleia, Wailua, Haleiwa. And there's two things we can do really. We hear it over and over from the experts, so it's not just coming from me. But one is planting trees. And so that's exactly what we did. We planted 60 dwarfs on the side of Kamehameha Highway. And the reason for the dwarfs was to give us a longer period of management where we can get nuts off those trees and use those nuts to go replant and I guess repopulate coconut trees all over the North Shore where they're being wiped out. That area on the side of the road that we chose, why we chose right there, just like in our Kahalu'u food tree project, was to make it so that, the public, they don't have time to get to these meetings, but maybe when they're driving home or they're driving in from other communities to see the surf or the sites, they can see the netting and they can see how we're managing the trees. So it's an educational thing. We're making that the epicenter to fight back outwards. And so it's a two-pronged thing. One, we plant trees, but two, we have to catch more of these beetle. And so we're working with farms out there to, we've been hearing different things. And I'm not sure if the board has heard this, but those Department of Agriculture black hanging traps that they have for the past 10 years hanging around the communities. Well, we've been told by the people that's been following this data that that's actually attracting the CRB to places that don't have CRB because of the pheromone in there, it tracks within a mile. So the more that they're placed, the more the CRB can go to these areas, and they don't necessarily go to these traps. The traps are shown to trap about 10% of these beetles. What they do is they go to the surrounding trees. And so one of the things that we're trying to work with the Department of Agriculture is to remove these traps from uninfested areas and put them in infested hotspots. And we pair those traps with mulch, where we can manage mulch. Mulch is a hot topic with that, right? You don't want mulch. But if we manage it correctly, we see illegal dumping of mulch piles everywhere out there. If we give the community spots in hot spots that they can drop their mulch, we can manage it, we can flood it every once in a while, we net it so we can trap bugs in and out. We think we'll have a better chance based on the experts that we talked to. So that project, it was a two-parter. It was to plant trees to make free coconuts to respur a new generation of shorter trees where we can manage those longer and get more nuts back into the community. And two, work with the infested areas with traps. So that's a side-by-side thing that we're doing out there. We were also approved for a third food tree planting project. That one is for Ahui Manu. It's a continuation of our Kahalu'u tree project. So it'll be right across the road there in front of the Hawaii Public Housing Authority's building. That we're not sure when we're going to roll that out because we want to make sure we're managing the two sites as good as we can so far. We have a little more work to do on the cleanup of the Kahalu project. And lastly, I know I'm going to, what's my time? Am I 3 minutes already? Keep going. Lastly, out in Haleiwa, I know this is, on the other side of the district, but it's relevant here too in Kaneohe. We were alerted of a social media post. Residents sent us a post about a homeless person smoking from a pipe right in the middle of the Haleiwa Harbor there, right next to Haleiwa Joe's, so where kids frequent between canoe paddling and 7-Eleven. Anyway, so from that, there's about a group of 6 of them there. We reached out to the governor's office. Immediately, they jumped on it, John Mizuno. And what they're looking to do is use some of the funds that we pass for the return homeless home. Not all of those people qualify. Maybe none of them will qualify, but we know one that's from Georgia, and they're looking specifically to get him back once he goes through treatment. So I wanted to come to you guys. I know we have the same problem out here. Call our office and I know a lot of them are from here, but if we have an idea that they may not be, let our office know and see if we can link up. Because Mizuno, that was his bill before he got it as the homeless coordinator for the governor's office. So he's all about trying to use it because it benefits them too. So let us know. Open for questions.
We go through the reps first and then we come back and circle back for questions. Representative Kitagawa.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So just a couple of updates. So first, Rep. Matayoshi and I hosted our 5th annual drive-through flu shot clinic for the Windward community, specifically for Kaneohe, since we hold it right at WCC. So we partner with Times Pharmacy as well as Windward Community College. And this year we were able to vaccinate about 173 people total, which included families who brought their kids, as well as kupuna who were able to get the high dose flu vaccine. So that's a real success for us. It increased from last year, and it's just a service that we continue to do for the community as an easy way to get their flu shots at the start of the flu season. And then Jaren reminded me about just some state traffic updates, road work. So as you probably know, the DOT has been working on repaving from Pali Highway on Kamehameha Highway all the way towards Burger King. And so now they're around that Burger King area. They're working on that area towards that intersection. And I think they're going to be doing continued work into next week. The estimated project completion for that area is about October 8th. And then they're hoping to have the whole project repaved by the middle of October. And then after that, they'll be doing their work to lower manholes and putting down the permanent striping. So this has been years in the making, but we are happy that DOT is finally working on that portion. And I believe I had heard from Councilmember Kia Aina previously that they will be working in 2025 on the rest of Kamehameha Highway throughout Kaneohe town. So thanks to the city for that work. And then just want to let everybody know that as we gear up to the next legislative session, my office will be working on legislation again. And so if there's ideas from the community about bills that are needed, feel free to reach out and we can talk with you about how a bill might work, or if there might be something that makes sense that we should introduce as legislation. And so I can also answer any questions you might have too.
Representative Matayoshi. Representative Hussey Burdick. And now questions for senators and representatives. I see Mr. Sakamoto and no others. Off you go. Oh, Vice Chair, go ahead. No, Mr. Sakamoto, you go, then Vice Chair.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thank you. Question is for Senator Awa. Senator, I'm very concerned about the roundabout in Kahalu. How's the project going, and is it accessible for persons with disabilities in Kapuna? I've been hearing some other things, but when is the project going to be completed, and et cetera, if you can elaborate?
I want to say March of next year. Your accessibility question, I'd have to come back. I hate doing that, but I don't have that answer. I can ask DOT and get that, no problem. But the last we checked, it was at $9.5 million and still scheduled for March.
Well, thank you.
Vice Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Representative Kitagawa, for your comments. I know you mentioned the pending legislation for next year. I do have something I want to bring up. There was an election commission meeting that met in August, and when the commissioners had a report for the September meeting, fortunately, the meeting was canceled, but I'd like to forward that to you for your consideration and as well as the rest of the representatives here. That's all I have. Thanks.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll move on into community organizations. Windward Community College, is there a representative here? Moving into board business. This is a confirmation for the record. Back in June, we voted for the Kaneohe Christmas Parade to be approved and to happen this year, but for some reason it didn't make it into the minutes. So I'd like there to be confirmation that the Kaneohe Christmas Parade was voted on and approved. I'm not looking for a vote, I guess. I'm just looking for confirmation. Did anybody disagree or are there any abstentions? All right, I'll make a motion that the Kaneohe Christmas Parade be duly noted in the minutes for December.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions?
Chair, I guess maybe I'll have an abstention because I'm on the committee for that, but
No,
all right. Okay,
No.
I can vote yes then. Thank
you can vote yes. You're recusing yourself for the Christmas parade? Wow.
What was the date again?
Well, what's that, Maka?
The date again of the parade?
I don't have a date. Do we have a date? December 7th. Mahalo. Oh, am I going to get in trouble for that? For making him not recuse himself? It's okay, good.
I guess I just phrase it as a conflict of interest. If it's okay, then I can
Okay.
go ahead, right? Thanks.
Good for you. And now there's some board business for our participation in the parade. We've discussed it. We should have a float. We should get in the car. We should do something. Donald's clapping. You want to get involved? Shall we have a float for the board? And we can walk half of the way and ride half of the way. Maybe play some music.
So moved.
It's been moved that we participate. I don't hear a second.
Second.
It's been seconded. Oh, seconded twice. Very good. Any discussion about what we'd like to do, or is it?
I'll add to the discussion. So I guess maybe I should start my conflict of interest if you're okay with that.
Do it.
But
yeah.
But to add to the discussion, I think for your entry, it could be as simple as one vehicle, or even the chair as one of the VIPs. But a vehicle or the group of whoever can be available for that to walk down the street with your your polo shirts or a sign, or handing out some information about the neighborhood board. I will not be a part of it because I'm trying to run the parade from the start line. But others that can participate would be welcome to participate.
That was fulfilled. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes, Donald.
If I do participate as a blind individual, I hope somebody can guide me. I don't want to fall in a pothole or trip.
Would you be adverse to riding in the vehicle, the VIP Kaneohe Neighborhood Board vehicle?
As long as we see so down on this Corvette or something.
Good. Okay, good. Everybody has jokes tonight. I mentioned this to my son. It's been quite some time, and I said, "Hey, you want to sit with me in the back of the truck and play music as we drive down the road for the Kaneohe Christmas Parade and play, Christmas songs?" And he said he'd do it. So anybody else who has a talent for music or wants to sing, I'm doing it not just because I want to play music, because I don't want to walk and I can sit in the truck. So I'm offering that up as well if everybody's open to that. But we can still discuss that. But I guess right now, do we want to participate in some way? And it's been moved and seconded. We've discussed. Is there any other discussion? All in favor of participating in some way or another in the Kaneohe Christmas Parade for the board?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Wonderful. Just a note for the minutes, I want to say congratulations to one of my former golf students. He is a senior at Duke University playing golf. His grandmother is from Okinawa. She's the oldest Okinawan, 112 years old. No, she's in Okinawa. So I don't know if you remember the Blue Zones project. Okinawa was one of those places that had great longevity. So Imua for her. Somebody had brought up, I think it was Keone, brought up participation of hosting of general election candidate forum. And if we did that, it would have to be in our October meeting because November would be too late. And when does early voting and mail-in start? Any discussion about that?
17, yeah. I mean, the ballots all have to be in the voters' hands by the 18th, so they'll probably come out even for that too.
Our next meeting is October
5 days.
But it doesn't necessarily, if we do one, it won't be our regular meeting. It would have to be something that Olelo does not film. Spencer doesn't have to schlep over here to do it. We'd have to figure out another way to do a candidate forum. Okay.
I think it's kind of late because the ballots will be coming in already. I think it's too late to be having something like that. Just my.
Okay, good. Anyone else? Is there a motion? Hearing no motion, moving on to the next item. Yes. The June minutes? No, we did not. Everybody remembers what's in the June minutes? Okay. Oh, there's copies up front. Thank you. Good thinking. And way to put that in here. Okay. Is there a motion to accept the minutes from the June meeting? It's been moved.
Second by Sakamoto.
Second. Thank you. Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition or abstentions? Okay. There you go,
you.
Spencer.
Thank you.
Okay. Now our last event of the evening. 15 rounds. No, sorry. Wrong sport. Our board's committee reports and our board assignments. Patty and I went to the Windward Kauhale. It's been, I don't know, it's been a couple of months now. It looked like it was being run extremely well. The residents that were there were very social. I think we had a lovely visit. The team was all there. Did you have anything to add to that? Okay. So they're doing a great job there. Are there any other committee reports? Mr. Sakamoto.
Yes, for transportation, I did outreach to Mr. Edwin Sniffen of statewide DOT and Rami Shishido also, and Deputy Director of DOT. And about putting audio cameras on the H3, and they're working on that. They don't have a time frame for the vendor yet, but they are coming. So kudos for them to help our wonderful HPD District 4 in combating the noise that's reverberating on our highways. Kudos for Department of Transportation and the legislature for passing that noise bill this year and signed by Governor Josh Green. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? Military affairs. I mentioned it during this meeting that the Windward Coalition does their own testing of the waters all around Kaneohe Bay, from Secret Beach all the way to the Fort Haase side, and keeping track of the intercoastal matter that's in the water. And they're pretty consistent with their findings. And I think the connection between what they found and what I can send to the commander and share with environmental, I think if they're doing a little bit of extra work, maybe we can do something with that.
Do have a report for our participation UMPO. That's the Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization. So they did do a briefing on kind of outreach to youth and getting their feedback, which was it's informative, and it's good to see that youth are getting involved with being made aware of these issues. But I think it's also a good thing that they do more outreach with the community in general to understand transportation issues and that planning process. So
super.
That's my feedback. Thanks.
Thanks very much. I'd also just like to, I'm not going to make a committee report, but I want to remind the folks that are on committees that when folks like Representative Kitagawa ask for things that they might add into legislation, we can start thinking about things that we see and maybe get those points either through the state legislative committee, which happens to be vacant right now. We can maybe brainstorm ourselves to come up with some ideas that if we can get some bills in front of the legislature. We haven't done one in quite some time. We've done some resolutions, but we haven't had a bill. I'm not forcing us to do one by any stretch of the means. But if you see something that needs to be legislated, either by law or by policy or some way, maybe we should get something forward. So let's start thinking about that. And on the next meeting, which will be our October meeting, I'll be asking, one, if somebody's interested in serving on the state legislative committee. And just as a reminder that any committee that we have is open to anyone in the population as well. So if you want to be on the environmental committee because that's a passion of yours and you can bring something there, then by all means connect with us so we can have that sort of interaction. It's not just the board members trying to do something. We can get the value of everybody that's in the community. So I'll leave that as it is. The next board meeting is October 17th here at Ben Parker Elementary School, 6:30 p.m. The virtual login works, so thank you very much for that. Are you pointing? Okay. Excellent. Well, in that case, then this thanks everybody for coming and for everybody who stayed. Meeting is adjourned.